Okay, fact versus friction. Kicking off today with some exposition. So as you know, Dollywood's new ride, NightFlight Expedition, they're always teasing that there's some big secret to the ride. And Eugene Doughton, their president of Parks and Resorts, is always doing this bit where he's like, "Oh no, did I reveal the secret?"
Not allowed to even say.
And that's not me throwing shade, by the way. I think he's doing a great job. I'm here for it. He's building hype and everything. But I also think he's dropped enough secrets that when combined with some napkin math, we have a pretty good idea about what that secret is. So that's what we're going to be getting into in today's video. Let me know if you agree, disagree, what your own theories are down in the comments.
Leave a comment for real because this is a new channel, even though I'm pretending like it's not, and I need the engagement research role on YouTube.
Next up, elephant in the room. Last video I released, Dollywood releases mere hours later, nigh minutes, NightFlight Expedition Update 4. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, Eric, E-dubs, are you now like the tail that wags the dog? Are they like secretly timing their releases to be with your channel? And for my ones of tens of viewers out there, the answer to that question is yes.
Okay, just so we're all on the same page, take a quick listen here about how Eugene alludes to the secrets of the ride.
On an adventure to uncover the secrets of Secret Lake. And there are quite a few surprises in this attraction.
So today, Eugene is going to help us answer some of those questions without spilling too many secrets, right?
Well, as you know, Jen, that's pretty impossible for me to do.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the clues we've been given to try and walk through the ride experience, and as we rattle them off, I think we have a pretty good idea of what the big secret is. First off, we know there are 4 sections of the ride, and I think they're also telling us the order of them: soar, plunge, climb, and navigate. Next, Full Charge Fun made a mock-up of the ride layout, and if you're interested in this, I highly recommend her video because she matches it up with construction photos. And I think she's right, but let's do a little fact versus friction napkin math anyway. The question is, how much napkin math are we going to need? The logo, the music, full send. Let's just go. So they say that the building is as long as a football field, which is 360 feet. Looking at the mock-up from Full Charge Fun, each section takes up roughly half the length of the building, or 180 feet. So if we count these up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections, each at 180 feet, or 1,080 feet of track, and we know that the total for the ride is 1,255 feet, which leaves 175 feet of track to get from the secret lake back to the station. Looking pretty good, but let's check ourselves. If we flip this part of the rapids track, that would give us an oval, or 2 complete sections, which would combine for 360 feet of rapids. Comparing that to Mission Bermuda, the only other Mack Rides Rocking Boat installation that has 368 feet of rapids, just 8 feet more. So again, our estimates are looking pretty good. But what about the assumptions on Mission Bermuda? Well, this satellite photo, we can make out an airplane, and combining that with the Attractions 360 on-ride footage, that airplane is the start of the rapids. It ends in this larger pond, and you can see that there's grates for the rapids currents to pass through, probably leading back to the original pond. NightFlight Expedition would have to do something similar and drain to the secret lake, which again matches the predicted layout. All that said, the napkin math aligns pretty well, except the length and duration and cost, and that's where the secrets are hidden. When we compare the only 2 Mack Rides Rocking Boat installations, I was actually very surprised how similar they were in their elements. They seem to have about the same length rapid sections, and the final drops are the same too. Now I know a lot of people have said there's a pre-splash on NightFlight Expedition in this dip here, but it's not actually possible to have water in that channel. The risk of it not making up the next hill is just too great. You'd have to evacuate people off the ride while they're still in the water, and it would just be a total mess. But getting back to the rides, I think they'll both also have a rollback. For NightFlight, it'll probably be before the climb section. They'll roll back and say, we need to clap our hands or get more bioluminescent energy to make it up the hill. So getting back to the napkin math, I think it's actually reasonable to assume a similar average speed between the 2 rides. And if we do that, NightFlight is 2 minutes shorter than it's reported to be. And it's also a ton more expensive, more than you'd expect for it just being indoors. So now you can probably start to see the secret. Going back to the predicted ride layout by Full Charge Fun, the flight section is suspiciously short. It's just this curve here, and then small drop and bunny hill down into the rapid section. In order to make up that 2 minutes of time, I think the big secret is there's going to be a fairly good flight simulation. I'd guess about 1.5 minutes will be for the flight simulator, and maybe 30 seconds of extra time will be soaking in the Secret Lake finale. But the question is, how are they going to do a flight simulator? Well, we know that the Mack Rise Rocking Boat demo showed screens, but screens alone doesn't fit the high budget. For a flight simulation, you would need a motion platform, and that would be a ton more complex. For starters, you would need a switch track so the ride vehicle can kind of disconnect from the main track and have room to move. And guess what? We know that a switch track is possible on the ride system because Mission Bermuda uses one when it goes backwards. Now, the next challenge would be for the screens. Would it be like you pull forward towards the screen, do the simulation, and then back away? Would screens kind of drop down in front of you and then retract back when the movie was over? I think it's a third option that we haven't seen much before. And part of the big secret of the flight simulation is that you're actually going to be dropping underneath the screen. And in an unscripted interview, Eugene Doughton essentially said as much. You see, back in January, he gave an interview with adventurers out there, and he was openly comparing NightFlight Expedition to Disney's Soarin', which is another flight simulator.
Everyone sort of was guessing,
Yes.
are they building Soaring?
Yes.
Well, kinda.
And critically, he said you'll be looking up at the screen on NightFlight Expedition.
So NightFlight, our media area in NightFlight, is actually overhead.
So I think the transition away from Flight Simulator is going to be the vehicle parks at the top of that first hill. You look up at the screen, and when it's over, you'll drop underneath it. That way there's no screen that has to move, and you don't have to reverse the ride vehicle at all. Lastly, there's a fairly plain construction photo that I think actually reveals a lot about the ride. Here you can see the bunny hill of the small drop, and presumably it will splash down into the rapid section. The station's on the right because the stairs are probably the ride exit off the station platform, so the vehicles will depart moving away from the camera, do a big turnaround, and come to the top of this hill. And I've marked it up, and if this is at all accurate, just imagine how cool the ride experience is going to be to seamlessly transition from flight simulator to roller coaster drop, airtime hill, and then straight into whitewater rapids. All indoors, cool lighting, it's just so epic. World-class ride. So I hope I'm reading the clues right from the layout, duration, cost, the small drop early in the ride. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or what your own theories are down in the comments. I've got a part 3 video planned for next week about how the ride fits into Dollywood's overall ride lineup, so be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss that. Thank you.